Welcome to the Biz Easy podcast, where small business is simplified for greater results. Brought to you by Resources and Development. Go to www.resources-development.com for help in taking your business to the next level. And now, help me welcome the host of the Biz Easy podcast, Steve McCrillis.
Welcome to the Biz Easy podcast, coming to you from the small business capital of America, right here in Middle Tennessee, while reaching across the globe, translated in English for your listening pleasure. The Biz Easy Network, your resource to help take your business to the next level. Also, stay tuned to learn how you can get a free Biz Easy business tool gift at the end of this podcast. My name is Steve, your host, as we all learn how to stay better focused on the things that make your business great. Now, don't forget our book is available on Amazon. Isn't it time your business becomes Biz Easy? Now, if you enjoy the podcast, you'll love the book. If you hate the book, come back to the podcast. If you hate the podcast, I'm telling you, you got to go and get the book. Plus, we want to get on the bestsellers list, and we're well on our way to doing that. Now, I'd like to introduce you to my partner and our resident guru of coaching, our lead business coach, Skip Williams.
Hey, Steve, is all good?
So, not our usual intro, but Skip, do you have a dad joke for us today?
Yes, I do. And this one reminds me of you, or something you might say. My friend was showing me his tool shed and pointed to a ladder. He said, "That's my step ladder." I never really knew my real ladder.
Now, I'm going to tell you, it took a minute, but it was well worth the wait. Inside joke, that's what it's going to be. So, what's on the docket for today, Skip?
Well, business life is hard, and it can make your personal life as hard as well. So much to do and so little time. What's a business owner to do?
So, wait a minute. I don't think you told us what the head topic was. Are we going to get to that?
A day in the life of a business person.
Ah, yes. Hence, life is hard. Sorry.
The average day of a business owner can vary depending on the type of business, the size of the team, the level of involvement of the owner. However, some common tasks and activities that many business owners do daily include, but are not limited to, the following.
So this is a comprehensive list of what these small business owners listening can actually relate to, but not an all-inclusive list.
Yeah, more of a sampling, not a comprehensive, I'd say. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Reviewing goals and priorities for the day, the week, the month, and the year.
Check.
Checking emails and messages from clients, vendors, investors, and employees.
Check.
Handling financial matters such as paying bills, invoicing, budgeting, and tracking expenses.
Let's hope he's got somebody helping him with that.
Yeah, and I forgot to add payroll too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Meeting with team members, partners, and stakeholders to discuss progress, challenges, and opportunities. Solving problems and making decisions that affect the business. Working on core business activities such as product development, marketing, sales, or customer service. Networking with other business owners, industry experts, or potential customers. Learning new skills, tools, or trends that can help grow the business. And the one that most business owners enjoy is dealing with employee issues.
Hence, business life is hard.
Yeah, I say dealing with employee issues,
Right.
tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
The average business owner works 50 to 80 hours per week. The amount of time spent on different tasks can also vary depending on the stage and the nature of the business. Here's some interesting facts documented by Inc. magazine. 33% of small business owners work at least 50 hours a week. An additional 25% of entrepreneurs log more than 60 hours a week. And 70% of business owners work at least one weekend a month on a regular basis.
Keep in mind that what you just identified are averages, right? So
Right.
I have seen business owners working exceeding that 60-hour per week.
Oh, yeah.
And weekends is almost, depending on the trade, almost always. At least that's been my experience. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, I think that's true, and I think the thing the piece of advice I was given as a young business person was, if you're doing it right, it should take less than 40 hours a week, right? If you
Right.
got,
Yeah, that's
if
the
you
goal.
if you delegate things to people, if you're working at the high levels instead of getting down into the weeds, I think you can get that down to a very manageable amount of hours.
And this isn't
But
necessarily by choice. This is by demand, or at least the manner in which somebody's managed their schedule, I suspect.
right, right. So also the long hours don't stop there. They bleed into vacation time too. SCORE found that 57% of business owners take vacations, or only 57%. 67% of small business owners who take vacations will check into work at least once a day.
Absolutely.
62% of entrepreneurs said that the stress of ownership is worse than they imagine. It keeps them up at night, and they often work for less than minimum wage, especially their first year in business. A business owner will likely need to put in long hours to make their business successful, but we're constantly looking for ways to make it a little biz easier here at the Biz Easy podcast. So today, here are just a few.
Before you get into that, I will tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you the number of times that a business owner, when I ask about his payroll, how he gets paid, how much he pays himself, and questions of that nature, just to kind of understand what his return is on his hard work and effort, he pulls his wallet out, opens it up, and his last 3 paychecks are still in there.
Yeah,
That's a killer. Now, add to it all these hours, add to it the lack of vacations, add to it all the weekends and the lost time with family. Yeah, business life is hard.
it is. And another piece of advice I was given early on was pay yourself first. Even if you're late, paying bills and accounts payable is behind or whatever. If you're not paying yourself first, you're not taking care of your family, and that was what you went into business for in the first place.
So you started to say, here's just a few things you can do to ensure that you don't fall into that trap.
Or to make things busy easier anyway. Yes. Automate some of your manual tasks. Administrative tasks like managing your accounting, books, and running payroll are arguably some of the most cumbersome yet important tasks that you have. Not to mention you have emails to write, customer relations to manage, and so on. Instead of spending hours on these types of tasks, automate them. You can automate manual tasks through tools like accounting software, email marketing software, payroll software, customer relationship management software, project management tools. For example, you can use accounting software to automatically import bank transactions, import data, record transactions, and send recurring invoices to customers.
And
So you can
inherent
get,
in some of these software packages, you might find yourself somebody that can take care of many of these things. As we talked about, surrounding yourself with capable people that will help you manage your business, that falls on their plate. If I can go out and as far as to say that, to try to do it all yourself, that's probably not the best way to handle it.
I agree, and maybe early on in the life cycle of your business, you have to do it yourself. But automate these things, whether that's saving you time or whether that's saving the person that you hire to do these things time. It doesn't matter. Uh, it all drops to the bottom line.
Which takes us to number 2, which is
Um, hire qualified employees and remember to delegate. Is it time to hire your first employee? Consider whether you can afford the extra payroll expense. If you can afford to hire, having an extra set of hands could help you work fewer hours and increase business growth. Growth being the goal here. Once you have an employee or employees, use them. Don't forget to delegate tasks to them. You'll find yourself in the same boat of overworking. Failing to delegate is more common among entrepreneurs than you may think. Small business owners said they don't delegate because they feel they themselves are the most capable. Their employees don't have the right skills. They're they are in a hurry to get it done and don't want to take time to wait. And they like doing the tasks.
which is inherent in many business owners as they get started. So it comes back to the very first thing you said: hire qualified employees. Identify those things and look for those qualities in a person.
I don't have to go through them, but there's easy solutions to all those issues. Take some time for yourself. Your business is your baby, but you also need to take care of yourself to better take care of that baby. Make sure that You take some breaks from the 60+ hour work weeks from time to time. Remember, you work for yourself now, and even if your hours are long, they should be flexible. So go take in the kids' soccer game from time to time. A few ways you can take care of yourself include taking breaks, including vacations, getting plenty of rest, and that is more critical than most people think. That's one of those things that if you get enough rest, you can handle the stress. But if you don't, managing your stress becomes impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Spending time with loved ones, enjoying your favorite hobbies. Being self-employed will be the hardest work that you'll ever do, but it's important that your business works for you more than you are working for it. Otherwise, you've only changed bosses. Think of the independence you were looking for when you started this enterprise. And rather than trying to focus on every detail, try to focus on the bigger picture. Remember Pareto's law of 80-20. 20% of the things you do will produce 80% of the results. So prioritize and spend more time on the important 20% tasks and delegate and spend less time on the 80% tasks.
What is that expression? Nobody on their deathbed ever said, I wish I would have spent more time at work. Of course, it's easy for us to say sitting here, dictating that to you, but kind of get an idea of that before you get too deeply into it.
Exactly. Steve, I'm reminded of a month-long motorcycle trip that I took to Alaska that I did with a friend of mine who owns several businesses that are all 7-day-a-week businesses. I wanted to know how he was able to be away from his business for 30 days. His answer was simple: delegation and Bluetooth.
Good answer.
He hired and trained managers to deal with the day-to-day, and he had Bluetooth in his helmet to answer phone calls as he needed. He was able to enjoy his vacation but still stay plugged in without stressing over everything.
Yeah.
You can get. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think that when I ask business owners, do you take time off? And they say, oh, sure, of course I do. I said, do you take time off without your phone or without your computer? Well, no, I always take my phone with me, and I always make sure I have my computer. I guess then you have to limit. It has to be a little discipline to be able to limit the amount of time you're actually going to give to work. And again, back to delegation, right?
Right. But, as a business owner, what can give you that peace is that if something does blow up, I can be immediately reached. I'm reminded I had a diabetic daughter when cell phones were coming out. And at first we started with beepers, but then we ended up using cell phones because I wanted to make sure that she could get a hold of me at any time, whether she was in school and having an episode or with her friends or whatever. She could get a hold of me at any moment. And that phone allowed me to go ahead and do business all over the county from business to business, and know that I could still raise my child as a single dad.
Yeah.
That is important. You can get your business to the point where you can do something similar if you lay the groundwork now. The alternative is grinding it out, running yourself into the ground, and having a vacation in the hospital instead. Just kidding. Or maybe I'm not.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I've seen that situation arise as well.
Yeah.
We always look for a company that had fallen into the perils of the sorts of obstacles or challenges that we identify in these blogs, but to illustrate how this content has impacted a real business and how it has been remedied by an owner of a small business, which is not a small business at all anymore. This story will kind of give you an idea what somebody who is well disciplined can do and has done to be able to manage his day. So listen to the story. And keep in mind, this is a story of a real person. As soon as you hear who the name of the person is and who the title of the companies are, you can say, if he can do it, I can do it. Also, from humble beginnings and listening to our podcast, he's managed to simplify things for greater results.
Yeah, I think I want to take all the credit for what this man has accomplished, right?
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Listen to this story.
All right, let's reel.
Here's an illustrative example of a typical day in the life of Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, who is known for his incredibly demanding schedule and hands-on approach to running multiple high-profile companies. Early morning 5 a.m. Musk wakes up early. He believes in getting a head start on the day. He starts his day by responding to urgent emails and reviewing the latest updates from his companies. Morning routine 6 a.m. 8 a.m. Musk often spends the early hours on personal matters and prepares for the day. This might include a quick workout to maintain his energy levels. He's known to have 5-minute blocks scheduled throughout his day to maximize productivity. Late morning 8 a.m. 12 noon. Musk's morning is typically dedicated to Tesla. He starts by meeting with his executive team to discuss pressing issues, review progress, and make strategic decisions. He is deeply involved in the technical and design aspects of Tesla's vehicles, often working with engineers on the finer details. Lunch 12 p.m. 1 p.m. Lunch is often a quick and informal affair, usually taken during meetings. Musk prefers efficiency and often has lunch brought to him as he continues working. He might have a business lunch with partners, investors, or key team members. Afternoon 1 p.m. 6 p.m. The afternoon is typically focused on SpaceX. Like his morning routine at Tesla, Musk dives into meetings with his SpaceX team, covering everything from rocket engineering, mission planning, to launch operations. He spends significant time in design and engineering discussions, contributing to the development of rockets, spacecraft, and other space technologies. Evening and personal time 6 p.m. 8 p.m. Evenings might be spent attending events, participating in interviews, or handling public relations. Musk also uses this time for personal commitments, such as spending time with his children. He has 5 sons and tries to balance his work with family life. Late evening 8 p.m. 10 p.m. Musk often returns to work in the late evening, continuing to address emails, plan for upcoming projects, and handle any remaining issues from the day. He might also engage in research and development, reading up on the latest advancements in technology and space exploration. Night 10 p.m. 1 a.m. He typically goes to bed around midnight or 1 a.m., ensuring he gets around 6 hours of sleep. Musk believes in the importance of sleep for maintaining his productivity and cognitive function. Weekends. Musk often works on Saturdays and takes Sundays to spend time with his family or catch up on work-related tasks that require deep focus. He also uses weekends to explore new ideas and think about the long-term vision for his companies. Conclusion. Elon Musk's day is a blend of intense work schedules, high-level decision-making, and deep technical involvement in his companies. His ability to juggle multiple responsibilities and his relentless focus on innovation and efficiency are key factors in his success as an entrepreneur. Despite the demanding nature of his schedule, Musk finds personal satisfaction in pushing the boundaries of technology and contributing to humanity's future in both sustainable energy and space exploration.
So you've heard of Elon Musk. You know of his accomplishments, whether you like them or not. You have to admit, it's a pretty rigorous schedule. It doesn't even include X, formerly Twitter, in that entire schedule, if you've noticed that. But, he does understand. In fact, if you caught that little blurb, he does 5-minute time planning throughout the day. It can be done. And if you're really devoted to that and devoted to the other things aside from your company, I think it's a great possibility. At least consider it. Obviously, Elon hopes to inspire others with their story and their work. And they believe nothing is impossible without passion and perseverance and listening to the BizEZ podcast. I had to throw it in there again. So any other thoughts on the story?
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive that this man can run 2 very, very large companies. But as you said, it's also Twitter, and there's also his boring company where he builds tunnels. And I'm sure he's got 2 or 3 other companies as well. And to be able to juggle all that and make a difference in the world. I mean, this guy is setting his billions of dollars to the side. He's changing humanity with what he's doing, and that's his goal. God bless him.
I admit working till midnight, 1 o'clock is a little over the top, but he's obviously very driven, and I don't subscribe to that philosophy. I need my 7 hour sleep. He needs 6 evidently, but it's a good story nevertheless. Like I say, whether you like them or don't like them, they have successful companies who are doing well with it. Now I think it's time for you to run the reel and tell our listeners, both of them, what they're going to get as a free gift today.
Well, let's see what the free gift today is.
This week's free gift is our burden calculator. Now, this tool is designed to help you calculate the overhead costs that your company must consider when pricing your product or service. Now, this tool will help you determine how much you must add and consider ensuring that you are selling profitably. And we all know how important planning is, especially when it comes to planning for profit. Raw costs of your product plus profit margin does not equal price. All of those other overhead costs must be considered. You buy something for $1 and sell it for $1.10 will ensure that you sell your way to financial loss. Let's skip. Show us around.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Steve. Burden is really critically important when pricing anything. And this little calculator is designed to make that task of pricing those products really, really easy. So I put in some simple financials in here on the left-hand side, what your sales revenue was, what any other types of revenue you might have coming in goes in the second box, your cost of goods, and then any other types of overhead expenses that you have go in those boxes. Once we do that, we know that our total burden or our total overhead that needs to be offset by sales needs to be $600,000 a year. But only 200,000 of the 300, only 2 million of the 3 million was earned by sales revenue. So for pricing products, the products themselves actually have to be lifting $400,000 worth of burden, or 40 cents per dollar. So if your product costs $50 and we add 40 cents for each one of those $50, we need to price our product at $70 in order to offset the burden. But we don't want to stop there, right? We still need to make a profit. So, but that gets you to price after burden. And then what we want to do is put in our desired profit margin. How much? What's the typical percentage that people make in your industry? You drop that number in here. It turns it into markup, and I'm going to explain the difference here in just a minute. But with the markup and the margin, our total price needs to be $78 to cover both the raw costs, the cost of the burden, plus make sure we hit our profit margin. Now, the difference between markup and margin, I've illustrated on our second tab here, which can be useful. If we want a 10% profit margin, we don't want to mark it up 10% because that would only give us a 9% profit margin. So what we want to do is if we truly want a 10% margin, we have to mark up 11.11%. The reason is we're working from the raw costs to the price instead of markup is calculated from the price, what percent you get left over. So in order to have the 10% left over, we've got to mark up our raw costs and burden by 11.11%. So that gives you a little difference. It kind of laid out all the percentages here. There's some custom boxes where you can put your own custom percentages in, and it'll calculate what it is for you. But that's our burden calculator, Steve. Pretty simple to use, but I think critically important when pricing any product or service for your company.
As Skip mentioned, once again, that the inputs are minimal, but the outputs are quite powerful. Now, this tool has been very valuable to help you consider all necessary costs to ensure that you're making money. Understanding the difference between markup and margin, as Skip had mentioned, are critical for you to do your financial planning for the future of your business, and this tool will certainly help. And we hope this makes your business a little more predictable and profitable. And the way to get your copy of the Burden Calculator today for free is to go to the products page at resources-development.com and use the coupon code markup, MARKUP, to get yours absolutely free. This product is a $29.95 value that you will receive free for listening to us today. Our gift to help make your life biz easier.
Hopefully we haven't been too much of a burden on you today. Thanks so much.
There you have it, folks. Now, I also want you to log on to resources-development.com, and you can read about the story. You can watch the story on the podcast listing on the website, or maybe you can't. Give it a try anyway, but the blog is there if you want any of that information. Any other thoughts today about the life and times of a business owner?
Yeah, just a little bit of organization goes a long way to reducing your stress. And some of us are more organized than others. But I think we all need to improve our organizational skills in order to reduce that stress that we face every day.
And this coming from two people who are admittedly a little OCD.
Admittedly.
Anyway, thanks for the information. Thanks for the story. And until next time, we look forward to seeing you. And
that's a wrap, Steve.
That's a wrap.
Boom.
Thanks for listening to today's Busy Z podcast. If you enjoyed our broadcast, we would kindly ask you to like, subscribe, and share with other entrepreneurs. See you next time on the Busy Z podcast, where business is simplified for greater results.